On this episode of Motorsport recently, we look back at the Russian Grand Prix, touch on Ferrari's new livery, and Giovinazzi has pulled out of Petit Le Mans, so who's replacing him? Also, the final results of the 2018 24 Hours of Le Mans has been confirmed. Who's in and who's out? This is Triple Crown Racing. Let's get into it. So last weekend we had the Russian Grand Prix. Going into the race, Lewis Hamilton had a 40-point lead over rival Sebastian Vettel. In qualifying, Valtteri Bottas put his car on pole, followed by Hamilton and Vettel. Max Verstappen, interestingly enough, had grid place penalties and would be starting from P18. At the beginning of the race, the story was Max Verstappen making his way to the front in spectacular fashion. Sebastian Vettel was able to pull off a successful undercut strategy, getting past his rival Lewis Hamilton, but only a few corners later was overtaken again. However, the race was pretty much ruined. Valtteri Bottas was leading most of the race, but Mercedes made the decision to do the switcheroo and swap Bottas and Hamilton around. Hamilton would go on to win the race, followed by Bottas and Vettel. Max Verstappen was able to finish 5th. After the race, there was a social media outcry as people were calling out Mercedes' disgraceful decision to swap the two drivers around. Lewis Hamilton now has a 50-point lead in the championship, which would have been 43 if Hamilton had finished 2nd place. People were saying that they don't need the extra 7 points, that they've already won, which to a certain extent is true. But I think what they're doing is making sure that if it all goes south, they have all the points that they can possibly get. It's unfortunate that we were robbed of this race, and neither of the Mercedes drivers were particularly happy about it. This allowed me to actually see a new side of Lewis Hamilton, one that isn't constantly angry at his team for screwing him over, and one that actually cares about his teammates. We saw him after the race go over to Bottas and comfort him. The thing is though, unless you ban team orders, there's nothing you can really do about it. There's nothing you can really do to regulate it. You can't stop it unless you ban it. And that sucks. Mercedes have put a damper on their reputation, ruined the Russian Grand Prix, and turned almost the entire motorsport community against them. All for an extra 7 points in the championship. Not that it matters anyway. This championship is over, basically, because there's no coming back from a 50-point deficit. Anyway, in the run-up towards the Japanese Grand Prix, Ferrari revealed a new livery with, you'll never guess it, an M and a W on it. Wow, what a huge change. But the thing that mainly interests me is what the logo actually is. Well, the logos on the car, on the rear wing, the side pods, the engine cover, etc., say Mission Winnow on them, and Mission Winnow is the name of a new project by a company called Philip Morris International. Now, dig a bit deeper, and PMI, Philip Morris International, is actually the company that owns Marlboro. Tobacco sponsorship in Formula 1 and sport in general was actually banned a long time ago, pretty much in the early 2000s. However, this technically isn't tobacco sponsorship, as what Mission Winnow is hoping to achieve is smoke-free technology that doesn't involve tobacco. Ferrari kind of defied the tobacco rules until 2010, as they ran a pattern on their cars that only vaguely resembled the Marlboro logo, but they ended up ditching it. And now I guess they're kind of doing that again, because they definitely are not advertising tobacco, and they are obviously only promoting smoke and tobacco-free products. Yeah, this livery debuts at the Japanese Grand Prix, and depending on when this video comes out, hasn't happened yet. Tequila Patron ESM seems to be the only team I've been covering in terms of IMSA news, and they have also changed their Petit Le Mans lineup. Again. Antonio Giovinazzi has had to pull out of the race as he has to commit to Sauber F1. So he has been replaced with a driver called Norman Nato. I was reading the Motorsport.com article covering this news and I sort of went like, who? Anyway, I did some research. Norman Nato is the winner of this year's 4 Hours of Le Castellet and also used to drive for Arden in Formula 2. The weeks and months before Petit Le Mans in sports car racing have been a little bit crazy. United Autosports has pulled out of the race, ESM have been constantly changing their lineup, we've had some very interesting team changes, we had the Fuji date change so that it would clash with the race, thank you WEC. Anyway, I have a preview for the race coming out soon and also a flashback to a previous Petit Le Mans, so make sure to check those out. So I will basically be discussing the entry list very soon. The final results of the 2018 24 Hours of Le Mans has been confirmed. As you may remember, G-Drive and TDS were disqualified from the race for the use of an illegal fuel rig, which gave the win to Signatech Alpine provisionally. G-Drive appealed and it has come out that the appeal was rejected, meaning, just as we thought, that the LMP2 winner of the 2018 24 Hours of Le Mans is the number 36 Signatech Alpine car. And honestly, we all knew this was coming. And I literally don't even care anymore because it happened ages ago. Anyways, that's going to do it for this episode of Motorsport Recently. This will also most likely be the second last episode of Motorsport Recently for the year. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.